You're listening to the Everything Kids Books podcast, hosted by Erin Mackey, a podcast for little learners and their parents who love to read together, as well as the authors who write the books they love. Erin's written over 20 books for elementary and middle schoolers and has published 5 books. Together, we'll be reading chapters of your favorite books, sharing your original works, giving writing and marketing tips, and interviewing other professionals in the children's book profession. Let's dive in, shall we?
Hi, everybody. This is Erin Mackey. Thank you for joining Everything Kids Books this evening. Tonight, I'm going to be interviewing a author, Wendy H Jones. Wendy, how are you doing this evening?
I'm very well. How are you?
Doing well. Now, I know you write in a lot of genres, so some of them are children's books, but what are the genres that you write generally?
Well, I write adult gritty crime books. I write adult humorous mysteries, like cozy mysteries. I write young adult mysteries, children's picture books, and non-fiction books for authors. I'm all over the place.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's nice to have that broad spectrum to cover.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been writing?
Well, considering the amount of books I've got out and the amount of genres I write in, not that long, 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Well, I say 6 years. I've been writing professionally 6 years. Prior to that, I've been writing since I was 7, and my mother gave me a typewriter. I've been reading since I was 3, so I've always been a reader and a writer. Everybody else would spend their pocket money on sweets. I would spend it on a pencil. It was very odd. And I always wrote when I was in the services. I was in the services and I always wrote home, and every day I would write home with what I'd been doing that day. So it was like a living diary, really, when I was abroad in Hong Kong and Israel and Germany and things. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I know you have a few children's books out. Can you tell us which ones are published right now?
Yeah, there are some published and about to be published. It's very odd because what it is, I've got a Bertie the Buffalo children's book, which everybody loves. They loves a little chap. He's Scotland's little escape artist. He escaped in real life, yeah? And he escaped it's based on a true story of a water buffalo that went missing in Scotland. We're not big on water buffalo, but he escaped from a park. Anyway, and he's got a soft toy and a colouring book to go with him. So he's very popular. Now, I do have another series called the Ferguson Flora Mysteries, but they're about to be rebranded and come out with another publisher because the original publisher moved back to Australia and gave me my rights back. And then the Bertie the Buffalo publishers, Malcolm Down and Sarah Grace Publishing, said, oh, can we publish them? So they're publishing them. They'll be out very soon with new covers, new titles, and there'll be a third book out in that series and another Bertie the Buffalo book.
Okay, I thought there was another Bertie coming out. I thought I had read...
Everybody's funny because they say, what is it called? Bertie the Revenge. Bertie, but I'm like, no, it's called Bertie Goes to the Worldwide Games.
The Worldwide Games. Oh, I love that.
It's actually an Olympics, but we're not allowed to say that.
Right. No, absolutely.
It's branded, so we have to stick to the Worldwide Games. But that's great because it means I can chuck him in a kilt in the book. So,
That's right. That's right. It gives you a little more creative freedom there. So,
yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
And what young adult books do you have published?
Well, the Ferguson Flora Mysteries, the first one
those are okay.
It's called The Dagger's Curse, yeah? And that's a mystery based in Dundee. A dagger is stolen from a museum in Dundee. It's an ancient Egyptian dagger, and it gets stolen and lays a curse on Dundee, apparently. It's a bit like, Nancy Drew meets Scooby-Doo. So, and there's codes and things that they have to solve in it and things like that. And then the second one is called The Haunted Broch. But they're being rebranded. The titles are being rebranded. I think they're going to be called The Mystery of the Stolen Dagger, or The Mystery of the Cursed Dagger, and The Mystery of the Haunted Broch. And the third one is going to be called The Mystery of the Terracotta Warrior. So,
okay. Wonderful. Now, do you know do you have dates for the newest Bertie the Buffalo or the Ferguson series?
Well, I'm hoping November.
Okay.
That's because they want them out before Christmas. So
right. Absolutely. And I love the plush stuffed birdie that you can get. She's so cute. I absolutely love that. I ordered a plush. I'm still waiting to receive it for my picture book that I had released, The Sleeping Flower.
Oh, yeah.
It shows one of the images of the flower laying down so that the children could go to sleep with it as well.
Oh, wow.
Kind of, in that pose. So
Yeah.
So
What a fabulous idea.
That one, yes. So now, besides the rebranding and finishing up with Birdie, are there any projects you're working on right now?
Not with the children's books. I am with my adult books. I'm writing the 7th Detective Inspector Shona Mackenzie mystery, and that's set in Dundee. And I keep getting into trouble because people say, Wendy, that's not how we say it. Narlands, but New Orleans. We say New Orleans. New Orleans. They say, Wendy, your American accent's rubbish.
No, not at all. You have to think how many different accents there are over here. So that's no problem. I understand what you said.
I love New Orleans, so.
Yes. So do you have any tips that you can give to future writers or children who want to write in the future?
Yeah, my biggest tip is write all the time. Write whenever you get a minute. If you've got 5 minutes in a car waiting for the kids, start writing. If you're a child and people tell you, my biggest tip to anybody, where the teachers say to them, oh, being an author isn't a proper job. You need to get a proper job. Tell them, Wendy H Jones says that's not true. She says you can be an author, and I want to be an author. Encourage the kids to write. I've got a friend called, she was my friend's daughter. Her name's Zoe Mitchell, and she won't mind me mentioning her here. And since she was 12, I've been, encouraging her. So do her parents, and everybody's been encouraging her. She's a very good writer. She's now studying creative writing at university. She's won awards. She won an award at the age of 13 against adults. If you want to write. And she was writing from very young. I've got another young friend called Anna, and she's got books, the little piggy books out. And she's 11, and she's got 2 books out already. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. If you want to write a book, write a book.
That's amazing. That it's so nice to hear the stories of the young authors. I've done talks at a couple of the schools and Q&A sessions, and had some kids even in the 1st and 2nd grade session that said that they were writing stories already. And it's so nice to be able to encourage those who really have that love for it. But I think the other thing that I found just personally was I never thought about being an author. It wasn't, I always wrote well for papers for school and things like that, reporting work, but I had never thought about writing a book until the first niece was born, and she was about 1, and I was reading picture books to her. And I loved 10 Little Ladybugs and Goodnight Moon, and I would read them. And I thought, I could come up with a story like this. And I started with picture books and then went into middle grade. And now I also do some chapter books and young adult. But, it's such a passion now where it wasn't even a thought before. So it's amazing how, it can be at any age that you get this craving to tell a story and to get it out there to people. And I think it is real important to encourage the young readers to think about it, and that there's so many different genres they can write in. They're not stuck with, I have to write this because this is what I read. They can write poetry. They can write historical nonfiction.
Absolutely,
so many different genres that they can usually find something. If they have that desire to tell a story, usually there's something they can find to catch their fancy, you might say, that they would enjoy writing. So
absolutely. But what the other thing is, always read. Writers are readers. If you're not reading, you're not going to be the best writer. Not because you can't, but you get ideas, you get it stirs your creativity.
Yes, very, very true.
And you pick out, you will automatically absorb story structure and plot and things like that when you're reading.
Yes, Yeah, that's really true. And at the beginning of my writing career, I wasn't as detailed and didn't think about things like tenses and plot structure and
Yeah,
things like that. It was too technical, and it seemed like that was out of my wheelhouse. But now I'm getting into some of those things as I learn and take classes and do the conferences, and I learn what's appropriate and what's important to focus on. So it is a constant growing in the field, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, yeah.
You can't be overwhelmed and say, oh, I can't do that. I don't know about plot structure, and that's, I'm not comfortable with that, so I can't write. You can still write even if you don't know those things.
Yeah, absolutely. To start with, it may not be perfect, but you can. The saying is you can't edit a blank page. It's absolutely true. Yeah. You need to write something to be able to edit it, to get it into a usable story. So, just start writing. Write about whatever you fancy writing about, and listen to what people are saying. Watch what's happening around you, because life will give you ideas of what you can put in a book. That's for sure.
Absolutely. The final thing I wanted to do was just get some information for our listeners for where they can find your books and where they could contact you if you have your website or anything like that, what social media platforms you're on, so that they will know where they can find you.
Excellent. Well, I am everywhere, as they say. People keep saying to me, oh, Wendy, you're everywhere. You go to a conference, you're there, you're speaking, you go, I'm everywhere. I'm on social media. So my website, if they want to find out about my books and buy signed copies, they can go to my website, which is wendyhjones.com, which is easily remembered. On Amazon, it's Wendy H Jones. Same on Kobo, Nook, any other digital platform, Apple Books, all of those. I'm Wendy H Jones on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Okay.
And put Wendy H Jones in, you're going to get me.
You're going to find you. Absolutely. Now, for your format for your books, I know you have them in ebook. Do they generally come in paperback or hardcover, or are they available in both?
No, they're paperbacks. They're all paperback, and they're all ebooks, apart from Bertie the Buffalo. Bertie the Buffalo is not an ebook.
Okay.
He's only and I'll say something now, but I haven't even asked my publisher this yet. People are asking for board books of Bertie the Buffalo. I might have to pitch it to my publisher.
I know.
I'll send them a message and say, well, I just said on an international podcast that we're thinking of it. I haven't even told them yet.
That's okay. That's a struggle for me as well. I really want board books for picture books, because the younger ones, if they're paper pages, they get torn very easily, they get ripped, and the parents want those sturdy board books. But I don't know what you found for cost, but I know as a self-published author, it's like $13 a book just to produce them. And
my children's books are with publishers, and they worry about the cost of them. So they just tell me what it is.
Yep, I know. So I'm still looking into, I think that I can do at least a hardcover for my next picture book. And it'll have the hardcover to protect it a little more, but still have the paper pages inside. Yeah. So I'm going to go through Ingram Spark, but also have it available on KDP. Yeah. And that's Snowflake's Big Adventure. So I'm hoping that she's working on the illustrations, trying to finish, but my illustrators had a tough college schedule this semester. So she's working away at that. But I know the board book struggle is real, because it's just so expensive to do it. You can't recoup the money. For the sites I've been able to find. It's really difficult. But well, Wendy, I thank you so much for coming on today. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. And I love your books. I'm on Killer's Cut right now for the Deanna Mackenzie series. I'm plowing my way through those, so I can't wait to hear about that 7th book coming out.
Well, that's Killer's Curse, and it'll be out soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. I just encourage all my listeners to definitely check out Bertie the Buffalo. He is adorable, and you can find him everywhere. If you watch on Wendy's Instagram, you'll see Bertie taking trips all over. He's very photogenic and gets his picture taken everywhere. So definitely pick up your copy today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you again, Wendy, for coming. And
Thank you.
I wish everybody a blessed evening. Thank you.